The UEFA Champions League is back this week and there are 18 thrilling games waiting for us on Matchday 2. The opening night of European football produced some truly incredible moments and the next set of games are sure to be even more impressive this time around. Today we're taking a look at every game from Matchday 2 of the Champions League to see which teams are in a good position to score more points and which teams are in desperate need of a good result. We have some fantastic matchups to look forward to this week, so let's go ahead and talk about them. The first match of the day sees Kairat Almaty taking on Real Madrid at the Central Stadium in Almaty, marking the second time that this competition has been played in Kazakhstan. The Kazakh debutants had a brutal start to their inaugural Champions League season, coming away with a 4-1 loss to Sporting CP on matchday 1. On the other hand, Real Madrid came out on top with a 2-1 victory over Marseille in their opening game, with 2 goals from Kylian Mbappe and 15 shots on target. It's safe to say that this game is going to be a blowout win for the Spanish visitors, and anything less would truly be the shock of the league phase campaign. It would be great if Kairat can score at least 1 goal against the mighty Madrid, but a 5-0 thrashing by the Spanish visitors is the prediction that I'm going with for this game. The next game of the day sees Atalanta taking on Club Brugge and Bergamo, and all the pressure will be on the home side. After suffering a 4-0 loss to reigning champions PSG on matchday 1, Atalanta need to come away with a win in this game or they risk digging themselves into a very deep hole. On the other hand, Club Brugge beat Monaco by a dominant 4-1 scoreline in their opening game, and they really have nothing to lose going into this contest. This game is going to be extremely close between 2 evenly matched sides, but whoever comes out on top will have a huge advantage in the race for a playoff spot. I'm expecting this game to be filled with chances going both ways, and with Atalanta grabbing a narrow 2-1 victory over the Belgian visitors, they'll secure the 3 points that they so desperately need. Moving on to the third game of the day, Pafos FC are hosting Bayern Munich at the Alpha Mega Stadium in Colossi, and it's going to be an offensive masterclass from the German visitors. The Cypriot side held their ground in their debut match versus Olympiacos, but with only 31% possession, they were on the back foot for the majority of that game. On the other hand, Bayern were clinically dominant in their 3-1 victory against Chelsea at home, and it looks like their scoring streak isn't stopping anytime soon with Harry Kane up front. It's going to take some divine intervention for Pafos not to concede a goal in this game, and instead of a matter of if, it's a matter of when their defense eventually collapses. It's going to be an incredibly one-sided affair, and with Bayern's offensive clinic leading them to a 6-0 victory, it's going to be a tough day at the office for Pafos. Moving down the list is Chelsea and Benfica's head-to-head encounter at Stamford Bridge in London, with both sides in desperate need of a win after some shocking opening night performances. Chelsea had some moments of brilliance in their opening game versus Bayern, but their second half collapse really outlined the flaws and weaknesses within the team. By the 16th minute in Benfica's opening game versus Qarabag, they had already scored 2 goals, but that all went away in the second half as the Azeri visitors clawed their way back to a 3-2 victory. Both of these teams need to redeem themselves in this game, and anything less than a win will truly hurt their chances of grabbing a playoff spot by a significant margin. It's going to be an edge-of-your-seat match over the course of 90 minutes, but with Chelsea earning 3 points after a narrow 2-1 victory, it's going to make for some thrilling football. The next match of the day sees Inter taking on Slavia Prague at the San Siro in Milan as the Italian side look to continue their winning ways. Inter came away with a dominant 2-0 victory against Ajax on opening night thanks to 2 beautiful headers from Marcus Thuram in the 42nd and 47th minute. Slavia Prague were just 12 minutes away from beating Bodo Glimt in their opening game, but they let it all slip away after allowing 2 quick goals to the Norwegian visitors. It's pretty obvious that Inter have the favorable advantage going into this match, and it's going to take a miracle for Slavia Prague to take away any points from their considerably stronger opponents. It should be business as usual for the Italians in this match, and with an easy 4-1 win going the way of the hosts, this game will be over before it even begins. Moving on to Galatasaray and Liverpool's encounter at the Rams Park in Istanbul, the English visitors will be looking to defend their lead properly this time around. Galatasaray went ahead in the 8th minute in their opening match against Frankfurt and then suffered a second half collapse for the ages, ultimately resulting in a humiliating 5-1 defeat. Liverpool also threw away a lead in their opening game against Atletico Madrid, but thanks to a crazy stoppage time goal from Virgil van Dijk, they were able to save themselves from an embarrassing result. Galatasaray will be making a huge statement if they can grab any points from this game, but Liverpool have won the last 7 matches they've played in, which makes this dream feel even more unrealistic. The home side will put up a valiant effort for as long as they can, but with a 3-0 victory going Liverpool's way, it should be an easy game for Arne Slot's side. Moving on to Atletico Madrid and Eintracht Frankfurt's encounter at the Riyadh Air Metropolitano in Madrid, this is going to be one of the closest games of matchday 2. Atletico came very close to drawing level against Liverpool, and they were just seconds away from grabbing a crucial point away from home. On the other hand, Eintracht Frankfurt made the most of their 38% possession in their last game against Galatasaray, but something tells me they won't be scoring 5 goals this time around. Diego Simeone is suspended for this match and won't be on the touchline, but even that won't be enough for Eintracht Frankfurt to grab a surprise victory. It's going to be an extremely extremely close chess match type of game for the whole 90 minutes, and with Atletico squeezing away a 1-0 win, they will earn their first 3 points in the competition. The next game of the day sees Marseille taking on Ajax at the Orange Velodrome in Marseille, with both teams looking to bounce back from their matchday 1 defeats. Marseille took an early lead against Real Madrid after a stunning goal from Timothy Weah, but they were unable to capitalize on the other chances they created, ultimately resulting in a frustrating 2-1 loss. On the other hand, Ajax couldn't do anything with the 56% possession they had against Inter, which ultimately led to their 2-0 defeat at home. Both of these teams are going into this next game thinking they can win it by a considerable margin, but it's going to be a lot closer than they think. The Dutch visitors will come away with a shocking 2-1 victory over Marseille, putting them back in the playoff race in the process as they sink their French opponents even further. The final match of Tuesday night sees Bodo Glimt taking on Tottenham at the Aspmira Stadion in Bodo, which is a rematch of last season's Europa League semi-finals. Bodo Glimt came from virtually out of nowhere to secure a 2-2 draw against Slavia Prague in their Champions League debut, scoring 2 beautiful goals in the process and surprising everyone in the stadium. On the other hand, Tottenham could only muster a 1-0 win against Villarreal after a comical own goal in the 4th minute, and they will need to play much better in their matchday 2 trip to the Arctic Circle. The weather and the harsh conditions that this match will be played in will change the entire course of this game, and something is telling me that the Norwegian debutants could score even more points here. This match could really go either which way, but with the only 0-0 stalemate of the day coming as a result of this game, it's going to be a tight and cagey affair for both sides. The first match of Wednesday evening sees Qarabag take on Copenhagen at the Tofik Badamov Republican Stadium in Baku, with the home side looking to continue their momentum from matchday 1. Qarabag's incredible 3-2 comeback victory over Benfica in their opening game shocked the entire league, and it proved to us all that they could genuinely be a dark horse in this competition. On the other hand, the Danish visitors let an easy win against Leverkusen slip away from them in the final 10 minutes of their match, forcing them to settle for only 1 point after a 2-2 draw. With two completely different styles of football, it's hard to tell how this game is going to go, but it's going to be a lot closer than most people think. Qarabag will put up a mighty effort in their first home match of the season, but with Copenhagen scraping away for a 1-0 victory, it's going to be the Danish side who get the last laugh. The next game on the list sees Union St.Gilloise going up against Newcastle United at the Lotto Park in Anderlecht, and this is going to be a spectacle for any neutral fan who tunes in. The Belgian debutants came away with a convincing 3-1 victory over PSV in their first ever Champions League match, proving to the world that they are not just here to make up the numbers. Newcastle put up a valiant effort in their 2-1 defeat to Barcelona in their home opener, but they had plenty of chances to score in the first half that they unfortunately missed out on. It's going to be a close game between two sides who have plenty of momentum, but I don't think either team has enough to tip the balance in their favor. The Belgian side will secure points in their first ever home game in the Champions League, and with a 1-1 draw coming at the end of 90 minutes, both teams will have to settle for 1 point each. Moving on to Borussia Dortmund's encounter with Athletic Club at the Signal Iduna Park, this is another match that could really go either which way. The German side were just 4 minutes away from securing a shocking win versus Juventus, but a total collapse in stoppage time saw them sacrifice 2 points as the match ended in a thrilling 4-4 draw. On the other hand, Athletic Club were completely outclassed by Arsenal in their 2-0 defeat on opening night, and they will need to put in a huge performance if they want to recover from that loss. This match is going to be a lot closer than most people realize, with both teams looking to redeem themselves in order to secure their spot in the playoff race. Dortmund should be able to get the job done this time around, and with a narrow 2-1 victory over the Spanish visitors, they will be back on track in their league phase campaign. The next game of the day is the marquee matchup taking place between Barcelona and PSG at the Louis Companys Olympic Stadium, and this is easily the most exciting encounter of matchday 2. Barcelona's summer signing Marcus Rashford secured a 2-1 victory for his new side against Newcastle with his 9-minute brace, but they will need to play much better in their matchday 2 fixture if they want to grab 3 more points. On the other hand, reigning title holders PSG had virtually no issues in their 4-0 win against Atalanta as they look to secure direct qualification to the round of 16. This game is going to be pivotal for both teams in the league phase, and neither side can risk a defeat in such a high-profile encounter. It's going to be a thrilling match from start to finish, and with a 3-3 scoreline coming at the end of 90 minutes, nothing will be able to separate the two sides. Moving on to Monaco's encounter with Manchester City at the Stade Louis II in Monaco, it should be more of the same for both teams after their matchday 1 performances. Monaco suffered an embarrassing 4-1 loss to Club Brugge that sent them plummeting to the bottom of the league phase table, and they can't afford to drop more points moving forward. Manchester City were completely dominant in their 2-0 victory against Napoli on matchday 1 as they look to continue their momentum in the league phase campaign. Both teams are entering this match at completely different ends of the table, and it looks like the gap between them is only going to get bigger. It should be smooth sailing for the English visitors in this match, and with a 2-1 victory at the end of 90 minutes, it'll be 3 more points on the board for Pep Guardiola's side. The next match of the day sees Leverkusen taking on PSV at the Bayern Arena in Germany, and both teams are in desperate need of a good result in this game. Leverkusen were able to save themselves and earn a point in their 2-2 draw against Copenhagen, but they will have to be much more clinical in the final third if they want to grab their first win of the season. Meanwhile, PSV were absolutely outclassed by Union St.Gilloise in their opening game as they missed 3 big chances that could have saved them from an embarrassing defeat. These two sides have gone off to lackluster starts in the league phase campaign, and it will only get worse if they manage to drop points yet again. The Dutch visitors will be the ones producing the shock result this time around, and with a wild 2-0 victory against Leverkusen on the road, they will finally live up to the standards that they've set for themselves. Moving on to Arsenal and Olympiacos' encounter taking place at the Emirates Stadium in London, the English side are looking to secure their first home victory of the league phase campaign. Arsenal were completely dominant in their 2-0 victory against Atletico on Matchday 1, and it's honestly shocking that they didn't score even more goals in that game. On the other hand, Olympiacos are still beating themselves up for only managing a 0-0 draw against Pafos in a game where they were completely dominant and had a man advantage. The Greek side might put up a bit of a fight in this game, but Arsenal have more than enough firepower to get the job done in this match. It's going to be another solid victory for Arsenal, and with a 3-1 win coming as a result of this match, they will have one foot in the top 8 moving forward. The next game of the day sees Villarreal and Juventus battling it out at the Estadio de la Ceramica in Spain, with both teams looking to put their matchday 1 results behind them. Villarreal were able to gather some momentum in the second half of their 1-0 loss to Tottenham, but they will need to actually hit the target this time if they stand any chance against the Italian visitors. Juventus played a fine game against Dortmund and truly earned a point after a chaotic 4-4 draw, but they cannot leave it to the last minute in their next game if they want to win. This match is going to be stuck in a deadlock for the majority of the game, and it's going to be hard for both sides to break one another down. These two teams have the ability to make this game interesting, but with a 1-1 draw coming at the end of 90 minutes, they will both have to wait for their first win in the league phase campaign. The final game of Matchday 2 sees Napoli taking on Sporting CP at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium in Naples, and this is going to be a thrilling game from start to finish. Napoli had an abysmal showing in their 2-0 loss against Manchester City on Matchday 1, and things are even worse now that their captain Giovanni Di Lorenzo is suspended. On the other hand, Sporting CP came away with a convincing 4-1 win over Kairat Almaty, albeit against considerably weaker opposition. It's going to be very interesting to see how Napoli play without their captain, but I don't think Sporting CP have what it takes to contain the reigning Italian champions. This is definitely going to be a must-see game, and with Napoli coming away with a dominant 2-0 win, this encounter will be the perfect end to a thrilling day of football. Matchday 2 in the 2025-26 Champions League season is filled with games that you won't want to miss, and with 18 scintillating matchups coming our way, it's going to produce some of the craziest results of the season. But what do you think of the Matchday 2 games in this season's Champions League campaign? Which match are you most looking forward to, and who do you think will come away with the most dominant victory? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more football content, tier lists, and everything in between, and as always, I'll catch you next time.